What's up, sis? It's your brother Dre, making this video for you about what we talked about earlier, sexual anking. Alright, I'm gonna break that term down real quick into two different pieces that it is, sexual and anking. First, we're gonna talk about anking and what the ank is basically. The best way to describe what the ankh is in modern terminology is what to be called a oscillator. And what an oscillator is, it is a closed circuit or almost closed circuit or circle that transmits and receives different ranges of energy frequencies, right? So, with that being said, when you ankh yourself, basically what you're doing, you are making yourself a very potent oscillator and also a very potent attractor. So we really want to keep that in mind as I go forward on this. So when it comes to sexual anking, or in fact, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but when you're anking yourself, it doesn't necessarily have to be sexual. You can just ank yourself just for the sake of it. You can even ank other people. Like I said, we're going to get into that later. But as for sexual anking, when you perform the technique, most people, especially most males, we do it on a solo basis. So in other words, when you're talking about masturbation, and for males, our style of masturbation is, we pretty much think about the particular female that we want to have relations with, and that's how we get to our climax. I'm assuming that is similar for women, but thing is, so what you want to keep in mind is you want to keep a very righteous mind and in good intentions in your heart as well. Reason you want to keep a righteous mind is because, like I said, you become an attractor and a very potent oscillator and attractor. So whatever's on your mind during the anking, you become subject to attract either that particular energy of the person you were thinking about, or the situation that the person may be in, right? So so you want to be extremely careful on what your subject is during this sexual technique. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into explaining how the technique is performed itself. So as you saw in the article, if you take a look at it, it has a few diagrams of, I think it's like A, B, C, and D, of a few different crosses. And the first cross, we can just pay attention to that one. At the middle of the cross is pretty much where the center of your chest is. In other words, close to your heart. In fact, let's use this, your heart chakra, because that's pretty much what you're activating here. So during or upon your climax, and specifically timed at your release, what you want to do is, with your mind, you want to imagine you bringing the top loop of the ankh right there at the base where the wings are. Imagine bringing that out of your heart chakra over your head, back to your spine in the same position where your heart chakra is. And when you do that, if you time it right and you practice it, you'll actually feel that jolt of energy. Or it's not, I take that back. It's not really a jolt as much of as more of a kind of a smooth transition into a euphoria. And you may even notice less fluid release, especially for men, because that's exactly what's happening for us during an orgasm. We are releasing fluids, but if you time it pretty good, what'll happen is less fluids will release, and they'll stay down there and pretty much by your root chakra in that base, and they're not the fluid itself is not necessarily traveling up your spine, but what it's doing is dwelling right there in your root chakra. The energy of the fluid is what starts to travel up your spine, and if you really calm down and let yourself feel it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. But yeah, I think that's about it. There's a couple other points I want to touch on, but I forgot. I tell you what, I just want to send you that quick video. Says just let me know if you got any other questions or you figure anything else out about it. All right, peace, love.